A girl drank 3 gallons of water in just 2 hours, hoping to grow her YouTube following. But things didn't go as planned. It did something deeply disturbing to her. TJ is a 25-year-old aspiring YouTuber, determined to surpass Mr. Beast's followers count within 6 months. After hours and hours of research, she concludes that the quickest way to attract a huge following is to embark on a mind-blowing challenge. She brainstorms, trying to come up with a stunt that will skyrocket her popularity. And that's when she comes up with the crazy idea to go live on YouTube and try drinking 3 gallons of water in 2 hours. TJ picked a date for the challenge, went to the store, and grabbed 3 gallons of water, ready to make internet history. Then she started hyping it up on social media, so by the time she'd go live, people would tune in eager to see if she'd actually pull it off. On the big day, TJ started the stream, did a quick introduction, and jumped right into the challenge. The first glass went down easily, and she kept the energy high, cracking jokes and interacting with her audience. The second glass, no problem. Her audience count was climbing. People were commenting and cheering her on. As she drank, she started to feel a little off. It was subtle at first, just a hint of discomfort, but she brushed it off. After all, what's a little discomfort when she's this close to a viral moment? TJ kept going, downing each glass faster than the last. By the time she finished the first gallon, her live chat was blowing up with comments. Some viewers were egging her on, daring her to keep drinking. But one person commented on the fact that she hadn't taken a single bathroom break since the start. TJ laughed it off, saying she normally doesn't pee that often. Take note of this seemingly small detail, because it will later become crucial in understanding her condition. Everything seemed to be going fine, but what TJ didn't know was that with each gulp, her body was struggling to keep up with the growing imbalance. Normally, the body carefully balances water and electrolytes, especially sodium, to regulate fluid levels in and around the cells. Sodium has a unique property. It attracts water, helping maintain the right amount of fluid inside and outside each cell. But TJ's rapid water intake was disrupting this balance, flooding her system faster than her body could handle. On average, the female body is about 50% water. In premenopausal women like TJ, estrogen levels are naturally higher. Estrogen promotes fat storage, and since fat doesn't mix well with water, women's bodies tend to retain less water than men's. Men, on the other hand, produce more testosterone, which promotes the growth of muscle, a tissue that retains water more readily. This means TJ's body is less capable of absorbing and processing the water she's drinking, especially since the water lacks electrolytes like sodium. As her body struggles to balance things out, the excess water begins to dilute her blood sodium levels. As a result, her cells start to draw in more water to try to equalize the salt concentration inside and outside their membranes. This process is called osmosis, where water continuously moves from areas of low solute concentration to areas of high solute concentration until equilibrium is reached. But in TJ's case, because she was consuming so much water so quickly, her cells just kept on absorbing it, causing them to swell. Halfway through her second gallon, TJ begins to feel uneasy. Her stomach is painfully bloated, but that's not what worries her. There's a pressure building at the base of her skull, a dull, throbbing headache that seems to be worsening with each sip. Her vision is blurring, and the pounding in her head is becoming unbearable. But her viewer count and subs were climbing, and this was exactly what she wanted. So JP pressed on, drinking glass after glass after glass. By the time she started on the third gallon, TJ's hands were trembling, and her headache had become a piercing pain. Normally, the human body would relieve the pressure by expelling the excess water through urination or vomiting. But what TJ didn't know was that she had S-IADH, syndrome of inappropriate antidiuretic hormone, a rare condition that prevents the body from eliminating water as it should. Her system was holding on to every drop, compounding the danger. 2 hours in, TJ somehow manages to finish all 3 gallons, but the moment she sets down the glass, she knows something is terribly wrong. Her speech slurs and she struggles to keep the camera in focus. The headache is now a blinding pain. Her eyes feel as if they're about to pop, and her vision is clouded. TJ didn't realize it, but the water was beginning to flood her brain cells, causing them to swell. Her other organs, like her stomach and liver, were also absorbing excess water, but they didn't hurt much because they had room to expand within the soft tissues of her body. However, her brain, confined within her rigid skull, had no room to expand. As her cells continued to swell, the pressure inside her skull intensified. This increasing pressure began to crush her brain against the walls of her skull and press on her optic nerves. The result was a splitting headache and blurred vision that only grew worse by the second. Now, it is becoming obvious something is wrong. TJ's confusion is starting to show, and her viewers are beginning to notice her struggle. She tries to stand up to end the stream, but collapses and loses consciousness, her last thought being that maybe this wasn't such a great idea. Fortunately, TJ's roommate heard her fall and rushed in. She called emergency services, and when paramedics arrived, they found TJ seizing, a clear sign of severe brain swelling. At the hospital, doctors quickly diagnosed water intoxication, or hyponatremia, marked by dangerously low sodium levels. Blood tests reveal her sodium level has plummeted to 115 millimoles per liter, far below the normal range of 135 to 145. A brain scan shows significant swelling, and further tests confirm she has S-IADH. Managing this condition requires precision. Doctors need to raise her sodium levels to reduce brain swelling, but if they do it too quickly, it could lead to permanent brain damage. The goal is to gradually draw the excess water out of her swollen cells to avoid causing complications like central pontine myelinolysis, a potentially fatal condition caused by rapid sodium correction. After careful calculation, they administer a controlled IV of 3% hypertonic saline, slowly reintroducing the sodium her body so desperately needs. Shortly after, her sodium levels begin to rise and her brain swelling subsides. Without timely intervention, the swelling could have led to brain herniation, a life-threatening situation where parts of the brain are forced or squeezed into areas where they don't belong. After 48 hours in intensive care, TJ regained consciousness. The pain in her head and the pressure on her eyes were gone, and her vision had become clear again. During her week-long stay in the hospital, TJ forgot all about her goal of surpassing Mr. Beast's follower count. All that mattered to her was staying alive. Today, TJ still streams on YouTube and Twitch, but she no longer attempts risky challenges for views. There have been other cases of water intoxication, like in 2007, when a 28-year-old mother lost her life after participating in a radio contest called Hold Your Wee for a Wee. She drank nearly 2 gallons of water in just 3 hours, hoping to win a gaming console for her children. Water intoxication is rare, and most people who drink large amounts of water may not experience it. This is because a healthy body has several ways to get rid of excess water, such as through urination, sweating, and even vomiting. TJ's condition was particularly critical because she had S-IADH. S-IADH affects the hormone that regulates urination, causing the kidneys to retain water even when the body has too much. TJ was essentially walking around with 3 gallons of excess water trapped in her body, the equivalent of over 11 liters or about 25 pounds of extra fluid. On average, the human body only needs about 2 to 3 liters, half to 3/4 of a gallon of water per day, spread out over 24 hours. This amount may vary depending on factors like where you live, how active you are, and your overall health. Stay healthy, friends, and drink water.